Okay, so we're going to continue. I'll just give a brief summary of the things that we discussed last time. The topic is the war of Gog Magog, one of the big events, major events that are going to happen at the end of days. So we went to the psukim in the Tanakh, and we started from Yechezkel. Actually, we saw only few psukim, about maybe 8 or 9 of Perek Lamed Chet. And I'll just, to summarize it, we'll go back again to the question that we had in the beginning, that we thought if we'll have clarification about those questions, that will be very nice, and we started. Okay? So the question was, number one, what is Gog Magog? Names of leaders, name of nations, that's what it seems in the first thinking, but we realized that Gog is a name of a person, a leader, and he is the leader of a nation called Magog. So that leads us to our next question, of course, obvious. So if they are not fighting with each other, against who? Gog, the leader of Magog, gonna fight. So the next verses, the next psukim over there, will answer this. The second question was how it's related to the Jewish nation, to the nation of Israel. The third question was about the location, where, if the Nevi'im describe where the battlefield gonna take place. The fourth question was timing. Aside from Achris Hayomim, at the end of days, there is any more specific information that could point out where it's going to happen. The fifth question was, what will be the reason of the war? And of course, the most interesting one, what will be the result? Okay, so we started to discuss those questions last time. I will just show the answer briefly on the verses in Perek Lamed Chet. We see here in the first two psukim that Gog is the name of a person, Magog is the name of a country. Gog is also a president of two closer nations, which is Meshech Vetuval, and we saw that all three of them, Magog, Meshech, Vetuval, mentioned in Sefer Bereshit as the descendants of Yefet. They have more brothers, but 3 out of the 7 brothers, the sons of Yefet, are mentioned over there in Sefer Yechezkel. If you will continue, we'll see that the next verses, Pasuk Gimel and Pasuk Dalet, describe that he's going to come with a lot of people. Here it's mentioned Kahal Rav, many people. In the next few psukim, it says it again, Amim Rabim, and we said again, I'm not going to repeat everything. All the nations of the world will come with Gog, with Magog in the leadership of Gog. It mentioned over here a few more nations, Paras, Kush, Ufut, and it repeats itself again, Amim Rabim, Kol Ka'alcha Nikalim Alecha, many people. Another interesting thing, Vayitalem Lemishmar, you will be their protector, meaning they will come under your umbrella. That means that you're talking about a superpower that all the nations of the world will feel comfortable to go with him to this war. And here he mentioned another few nations. Gomer, we said it's Germany, it's the first son of Yefet. No. Okay, so all of those also going to come. Actually, this is from Bereshit to show that Gomer is Germany, because it says Uvnei Gomer, Ashkenaz, Verifat, Vetogerma. Okay, the next pasuk talk about these two most interesting things, where the location will be and what time in the history it will be. So we divide this pasuk to 4 parts. The first, Miyamim Rabim Tipaked Ba'acharit Hashanim Tavo, it will not going to take place in my time, said the Navi Yechezkel. Remember, Navi Yechezkel lived about 2,400 years ago, right before the building of the second Beit HaMikdash. And he said, it's not going to happen in my time. It's going to be in many, many, many years. Ba'acharit hashanim tavo. To where? El eretz meshovevet b'cherev. And here he gives us two signs about the battlefield. It will be in a place that the cherev, the sword, which means wars, are continuously during the history coming again and again. This is the meaning of meshovevet mecherev. Meshovev, it's from the source lashuv. Return again and again. Lashuv, lasuv, meshovevet mecherev, meaning the war come to this place again and again and again. Take on the globe the place that many wars during the history happened there. So this is sign number one. Sign number two, it will be very interesting that the population at the time at this place will be a population that not too long ago came from all over the world. Mekubetzet me'amim rabim. They will come from all the nations, and actually from all the nations that will come with Gog to attack. Okay, so that give us, if you took those two signs, it's eliminate many places in the world, but it's still not clear because it could be more than one place. So to be really clarified about this, the continuation of the verse says very, very clear, Al Harei Israel. It will be on the mountains of Israel. So you have to remember, this is very important piece of information. The war of Gog Magog will be in Israel. Will be in Israel. Al Harei Israel. It says very, very clear. But here he continues and says another thing that could help us to understand the timing. He says, Al Harei Israel asher hayu lechorba tamid. They were for a long time deserted. Vehi me'amim utzai. Not too long ago, meaning before the war, they re-established the place, rebuild it. Vehi me'amim utzai ve'yashvu levetach kulam. He mentioned over here, this is the first time we'll see that it's repeated itself, that the people who live in Israel at the time will feel secured, will not feel or be ready for this war. And this is very interesting because, you know, if you take the history, now we learning this many years after Yechezkel said those things, and we could see clearly that the description fit only our time when we live. Because 100 years ago, the land of Israel will not fulfill this description that after a long time of deserted, it's become populated again. But today it is. So it make it closer. But again, this is very interesting because it seems that when it never happened that since we established the state of Israel about 70 years ago, we never were in a situation that we were secure and no one think about wars, but it's mentioned over here and it will mention another time. Let's see. ועלית כשורה תבוא כענן לכסות הארץ, תהיה אתה וכל אגפיך ועמים רבים איתך. You will come very fast and no one will be ready for this, and you will come with a lot of people in a way that no one could see the ground, because on every piece of ground will be a soldier. So many people, meaning it will be a ground invasion to Israel. כה אמר השם אלוקים, והיה ביום ההוא יעלו דברים על לבבך וחשבת מחשבת רעה. He speaks to him and he says, at those times you will think, okay, I'm going to do it, I'm going to make it. And his wicked thought will be, they are not ready, and I'm here, and I'm going to destroy them. This is the מחשבת רעה, the evil thought. ואמרת, אעלה על ארץ פרזות, אבוא השוקטים יושבי לבטח כולם. I will come on them, I will surprise them, and they are secure or feel secure. They will not be ready for this. יושבים בהם חומה ובריח ודלתיים אין להם. They are not ready for this attack. That will be your thought. Hashem speaks to him. And now he goes to another question that we raised in the beginning. What will be the reason? How this person Gog, will convince all the nations of the world to go to this important mission. What do you want to do? Why? And it says over here something that seems to us so far. Look, לשלול שלל ולבוז בז, להשיב ידך על חורבות נושבות, ואל עם מאוסף מגויים, עושה מקנה וקניין יושבי על טבור הארץ. If you analyze the information over here, he speaks about this עם מאוסף מגויים. This nation is the Jewish nation. מאוסף מגויים, they returned from all the world, all the nations that they were among them during the exile. They will come. They will come to the land of Israel, and they will do good financially. They're sitting on the center of the world, and they have economy power. And that will bother Gog, and that will bother the entire world, and he will convince everyone to come to take this power of economy from those nations, from this nation that just come from all over the world and build this country. That's what's described over here. So two things seems to us a little bit far. We know that the economy in the world is not that good. Right after the recession in the 2008. We know that Israel surviving it pretty good, but to make the land of Israel or the people of the state of Israel today a superpower in economy, it's a little bit far. It's not exactly fit the situation for now. Another thing, they will be secure. They will be not even thinking or be ready for such an attack. So we know, I could tell you as an Israeli, that we're thinking about the next war every day, every morning. We're trying, since we established the state of Israel, we always be ready for the next war, because if not, we're going to be finished. So how those two things are fit this picture? Because in one end you could see that, it's start to arrange toward it. As I said, 100 years ago, you could not say on Israel, on the land of Israel, that it's populated from people who came from all over the world. And for close to 1,000 years, this was deserted. And now it's really fit this description. But the other two things that not fit in this picture are the economy superpower and the security. Okay, we'll answer this later, but let's see what's the continuation. I believe until here we got last time. Now let's continue. לכן ינבא בן אדם. So Hashem speaks to Yechezkel Navi and he says to him, give this prediction, this prophet to Gog. לכן ינבא בן אדם ואמרת לגוג. כה אמר השם אלוקים, הלא ביום ההוא בשבט עמי ישראל לבטח תדע. Oh no, we mentioned this to all last time too. At those days, when my nation, Israel, will sit in their land, feel secure, you will know. ובאת ממקומך מירכתי צפון, and you will come from your place. Where is your place? Because one of the questions are, who is Magog? There is no such a nation today in the United Nations, Magog. So we have to know that many nations during the history changed their name. Like, I'll give a few examples. Ethiopia used to called Chabash. Iran of today used to call Paras. So when they change the name, it doesn't mean that they change themselves. It's just a name. So clearly, he speaks about a nation that at the time of Yechezkel, and even at the time before Yechezkel, as we saw in Sefer Bereshit, was a nation called Magog. Where are they today? Who are they? Who they are, right? This is the question, one of the questions that we want to verify. So here's the hint. Uvata, it's more than a hint. ובאת ממקומך מירכתי צפון. Yarkatayim is the edge. Tzafon is the north. So, we know that the location of the battle war will be in Israel, on the land of Israel. So what we have to do, take and look north. Who could be fit in this description? And we did it, if you remember, let me show you it again. If you take Israel here, this is the Middle East, this is Israel, the mountains of Israel, Harei Israel, now go north. What do you have north? The closest country is Lebanon. The country after that is Syria. The country after that in the north is Turkey. If you go up, you will get to Russia. Now, because it says Yarketei Tzafon, meaning the edge of the north, there is nothing northern than Russia. Russia goes all the way to the northern pole, right? You could see it over here, and you could see it even clearly in the next map here. This is Israel. You go north, you go to Russia, and that's it. This is the North Pole. There is nothing further than that. So, it's very interesting. It seems that Magog is Russia. In a way, it's very interesting. I'm not signing on it. But it seems, if you analyze it, you're talking about a superpower, as we said before, meaning they will be in a position that everyone will feel secure under them, meaning it's a superpower. Russia is a superpower. Russia has financial problems. People in Russia are not rich. The government, yes, but not, maybe, I don't know how rich they are, but the people are poor. There is economy problems in Russia. So, again, probably we are not talking about something that's going to happen now, today, tomorrow, but it's going. There are processes, and it seems very interesting. I'll show you later that it's much more than just this speculation. There is much more evidence that could support it. Let's see. But even after all of that, I'm not signing on it. If tomorrow, I don't know, the Eskimos will come and take over Russia, maybe it's not Russians, but who knows. Now, let's continue. Let's see. Pasuk Tetzai. Ve'alita al ami Yisrael. Again he says, you will come on my nation Israel. Ke'anan lechasot haaretz. Again he repeats this. It will be like a cloud who cover the earth. You cannot see the light of the sun because this cloud is covering the earth. Meaning, a lot of soldiers, you could not see the ground because many people will be there. All the soldiers that are going to cover them. And here he mentioned the notion, be'acharit hayamim tiyeh. Before we said, be'acharit hashanim tavo. Yes, be'acharit hayamim, it's the same thing. Acharit hashanim, acharit hayamim. But it's clearly, again, he's talking about an event that's not going to take place in his time, but many, many years after. And today we are, as I said, 24, 25, 100 years after. And he says, "Va'avioticha al artzi למען דעת הגויים אותי ויקדשי בך לעיניהם גוג." And this is very interesting. Remember the question, one of the questions that we raised in the beginning, what will be the reason of the war, right? Now when we talk about the reason, there are two aspects to this. What they will think is the reason, and what is the real reason. Meaning, in the beginning we said that Hashem says to Yechezkel, talk to him and tell him, I will put this crazy idea in your mind. V'shovavticha, v'avioticha el artzi, I will make you, Hashem says, I will make you to go to this project, right? The question is, why? So there is what he think, why, meaning Gog and Magog in themselves, why? But what is the real reason? Why Hashem wants this to happen? And here's the reason. למען דעת הגויים אותי ביקדשי בך לעיניהם גוג. What is the meaning of this? As I said last time, when people hear about Milchemet Gog Magog, everyone naturally got scared. War is not a pleasant thing, right? In general, we have to know that all the events, including Milchemet Gog Magog, is a good thing for the Jewish nation. Even though war are not pleasant, it's a good thing. Why it's a good thing? Because what's the idea of Achar Sayomim? Achar Sayomim means the end of days, when the history gonna get, circles get closed. We're going to the purpose of the creation. So Achar Sayomim is when the time is over, and now it's the time to get to the Tachlis, to the purpose of the creation. So all the events of Achar Sayomim is to bring to Gilui Malchut Hashem Ba'olam. to reveal that Hashem, He is the master of the universe. Because during the time of the history, it's not clear. And this is in Hebrew the deep meaning of the word olam. The word olam, the root of the word olam, are the letters Ayin Lamed Mem, which is ha'alama, concealment, hidden. You could not see clearly the Creator. And there is a reason for this. To let people has free will. Because if not, it will not be a point of free will. Okay, but at the end of days, all of this is going to get to the end, and Hashem going to reveal the truth. Milchemet Gog Magog, this war of Gog Magog, as the other events, which is the building of the third Beit HaMikdash and finish the exile of the Jewish nation, all of those events are part of how the truth will be revealed in the world. So in general, the entire idea, the entire thing behind, as we will see, the entire thing behind Milchemet Gog Magog is to reveal the truth. Okay? So Hashem says, I will cause you, gather together all the nations of the world, come to this war, and according to your calculation, and according to the logic calculation, this war will be finished clearly with the obvious winning of all the nations of the world against one little nation, right? I'm going to interfere, says Hashem, and I'm going to show that I'm the master of the universe. And this is the idea. Bi kadshi bechal enehem Gog. You will be my tool to prove to the world, le'inei hagoyim, le'man dat hagoyim, all the nations of the world will know through you, through this initiation that you took, that Hashem wa Elokim. This is the meaning of the word Kiddush Hashem. Kiddush Hashem means that it will be obvious. Okay, this is in general. We have to ask, of course, a question. If Hashem wants to reveal the truth and to show the world that He is the master of the universe, there is no other ways. Less bloodshed. Why like this? And why Gog and Magog was chosen by Hashem through them? Why? I mean, all of those questions. Hashem could do just, I don't know, a press conference in the CNN and reveal Himself. It could be very easy. Why it should be done this way? And why Magog and Gog are the ones that Hashem chose to do it through them. Okay? So here I want to show you something very interesting. Usually, I'm going to go, as you see in the last year and this year, through the verses, the psukim in the Torah, in the Tanakh, and there are many more. But we're talking about the simple level, the pshat. We didn't do midrashim, Kabbalah, things like this. Even though there are a lot of information there, but I'm going through the pshat. And what we did so far is just taking the psukim, the verses, analyze the words, and put together the picture. And you could see, this is pretty amazing picture already by the pshat level. But here I want to add something from the Medrash. And in order to explain this question that I just asked, why Gog? Why Magog? Why they will be the tool to reveal the truth? And why it should be in such a very not pleasant way? War. Oh, okay. It's still ahead. Okay, let's go to this Medrash. This Medrash is in Parshas Emor and Sefer Vayikra, and it speaks about all the enemies of the Jewish nation during the history, all the anti-Semites. Okay? So, let's see. אמר רבי לוי, אוי להם לרשעים שהם מתעסקים בעצות על ישראל, וכל אחד ואחד אומר, עצתי יפה מעצתך. He's speaking about the topic called anti-Semitism. And there are leaders who lead the anti-Semitism during their history. All of them hate the Jewish nation, and all of them try to be clever and more efficient than the anti-Semites that were before. Okay? So look at this. That's what the Medrash says. עשיו אמר, שוטה היה קין שהרג את אחיו בחיי אביו, ולא היה יודע שאביו פרה ורבה, אני עושה כן, אלא יקרבו ימי אבל אביו. So the first anti-Semite leader that mentioned over here in this list, there are 4 of them, is Esav. Esav was the twin brother of Yaakov, right? And Esav decided to kill Yaakov. So he thought, let's learn from the history. Why to invent the wheel? Let's be more efficient. Before me, it was also a conflict. Before me and Yaakov, says Esav to himself, was also a conflict between 2 brothers, Cain and Hevel. And Cain was angry on Hevel, and he wants to get rid of him. He killed him. But he didn't win anything from this. Why? Because his father and mother were still alive, and they could bring to the world more people. And as what happened, Shet was born after, and the world continued through Shet. So he didn't win anything by this. He said, as long as my parents could bring more brothers to the world, more children to the world, I will not gain anything from killing Cain. So Esav says to himself, I'm in the same situation. I want to get rid of my twin brother, Yaakov. So there is no point to kill him because maybe Yitzchak and Rivka will have more children. So I'll wait until my father will die. And that's what he said. יקרבו ימי אבל אביו והרגה את יעקב אחי. I'll wait until my father will pass away and then I'll kill him. And then I will know for sure that I'll be the only one who will survive. So that was Esav. Many generations after lived Paro, the king of Egypt. Amar, he tried to learn from the history. Again, all of them, what occupied their mind is how to get rid of the Jewish people. So Esav said what he said. Now Paro wants to, as we learned in the beginning of Sefer Shemot, he wants to get rid of the Jewish nation. So he learned from the history. Paro אמר, שוטה היה עשיו, שאמר יקרבו ימי אבל אביו, ולא היה יודע שאחיו פרה ורבה בחיי אביו. So okay, you're going to wait until Yitzchak will pass away. But meanwhile, Yaakov could bring children to the world. So then you'll have to look after not just Yaakov, but all his descendants, right? So Paro said, I have to be more efficient. What shall I do? אני איני עושה כן, אלא עד דאינון דקיקים, דחות קורסה עם הון, אנא מחנק יתון. עדה עוד הכתיב, וריתם על האובניים, כל הבן הילוד היורה תשליכו, I will not let them grow. His decree was, the minute they was born, throw them to the Nile. Okay? Don't let them grow. That was the lesson that he learned from the former attempts.
Where does it say these words? Like, how do you know he said that?
Oh.
I know his actions were like that, but where is these words?
The quote is from the Medrash Rabbah. So if you ask what Medrash Rabbah,
Yeah, what is that?
okay. So here's a more basic fundamental question. I'll try to answer it briefly. When Hashem gave us the Torah, in Ma'amad Har Sinai, Hashem gave us, you probably heard about the notion called Pardes. Pardes are the 4 levels of every pasuk in the Torah. There is the simple level. Pardes are initials in Hebrew. Pardes are the initials, it stand for Pshat, Remez, Drash, Vesod. Pshat is the simple, Remez is the hint, Drash is to search or to demand, Lidrosh in Hebrew is to demand, or Ani Doresh, or to search. This is the level called Drash, and the Sod, which is the secret. So every pasuk in the Torah has these 4 levels. When Hashem gave the Torah to Moshe Rabbeinu, in the 40 days that he was on the mountain, he gave him the entire Torah. The entire Torah includes Pshat, Remez, Drash, Vesod. Moshe Rabbeinu himself, before he passed away, he wrote down the Torah Shebichtav, which is the 5 books of Moses, and the Chamisha Chumshei Torah that we have in Aron HaKodesh in the shul. But aside from that, was the oral Torah. The oral Torah includes all these 4 levels: Pshat, Remez, Drash, and Sod. So everything was given to Moshe Rabbeinu. Some of the things Hashem told him, write down those things, which is the Sefer Torah that we have. The other one was staying Be'al Peh, in orally. Moshe קיבל תורה מסיני, ומסרה ליהושע, ויהושע לזקנים, וזקנים לנביאים. And then later on, because of the exile, after the destruction of second Beit HaMikdash, those things were documented or put on words in order for them not to get lost. But the Medrash was written, let's say, about 1600 years ago, and it's not saying that at the time they thought about this idea or invent them. The thing that we got from Moshe Rabbeinu and passed from generation to generation was documented in order that they will not get lost. So the Medrash is part of the Torah. Okay? So the Medrash says what was behind the ideas of Esav and Paro. So we see again that Paro, let's go back to this, Paro tried to be more efficient and learn from the mistakes of Esav. So he will kill them the way Kol Ben Ayilot, the way when they got born, then get rid of them. Okay? Did Paro succeeded? Not really. And here comes, we are before Rosh Chodesh Adar, soon going to be Purim. The next anti-Semite leader is Haman. Haman also wants to get rid of the Jewish nation, right? Lashmid, la'arog, u'labed et kol ha'Yehudim. So Haman, many generations after Paro and after Esav, tried to think, I want to get rid of them, but the history proved that it's hard. Esav didn't succeed, and Paro didn't succeed. Let's try to understand why they failed and be more efficient. And here's Haman. Haman אמר, שוטה היה פרעה שאמר כל הבן היילוד דארות השליחו, ולא היה יודע שהבנות נישאות לאנשים ופרות ורבות מהן. The gzera of Paro was only on the boys, right? כל הבן היילוד דארות השליחו. Not about the girls. וכל הבת תחיון. Says Haman, even if Paro was succeeded to kill all the boys, he will leave out the girls will get married to non-Jews. Okay? But the children will be Jewish, because it's according to the mother. So, it's not a good sealed solution. So what he learned from this? No sentiments, no difference between boys and girls. And what was the gezerah? אלא להשמיד, להרוג ולאבד את כל היהודים, מנער ועד זקן, טף ונשים, everyone, boys, girls, everyone. Did he succeed? No. That's why we have Purim. So here we see that all the Goyim, all the anti-Semites among the Goyim that want to get rid of the Jewish nation didn't succeed. Okay? And here the Medrash relate to Gog. Esav, Paro, Haman is the history, it's the past. But here's the Medrash just point out to the future. And you think about Gog, and look what the Medrash says. Ve'av Gog, le'atid lavo, in the future, Gog, gonna do the same. And he also tried to think why all the enemies of the Jews before me failed. Why? Because it's not just because of this or this or this or this. Because we see people try to, those anti-Semites try to be efficient and they didn't succeed. So there is a deeper reason. And Gog gonna go on it. You really gonna know what is the reason. Look. ואף גוג ומגוג לעתיד לבוא עתיד לומר כן, שוטים היו הראשונים שהיו מתעסקים בעצות על ישראל, ולא היו יודעים שיש להם פטרון בשמיים. There is no way to kill the Jews, to get rid of the Jews. You know why? And he is right, very right about this. Because they have a protector. God. God protecting them. As we said, Baruch Ata Hashem shomer et amo Yisrael la'ad. We said it in the davening, right? Hashem is our guard. So Hashem will not let anyone to kill us. Gog gonna realize this. He said, if I try to analyze why they failed, it could be this reason. The bottom line is, there is no way to get rid of the Jewish nation because they have a guard, which is Hashem. So, if you realize this, what you should do? Try to, forget about it. You cannot kill them because Hashem protect them. But Gog was gonna be such an anti-Semite that even though he will know that there is a guard, he will still want to go after the Jewish people and kill them. but he's aware that there is a problem, there is God. So how are we going to solve his problem to get rid of the Jewish nation? And the Medrash says something amazing. He said, in order to kill them, I have to get rid of God. Because as long as there is God, there is a problem. But if you realize that there is God and you understand what God is, how you could think this stupid idea that you could get rid of God? But that's what the Medrash says. Let's try to explain this. ואף גוג ומגוג לעתיד לבוא, עתיד לומר כן. שוטים היו הראשונים שהיו מתעסקים בעצות על ישראל ולא היו יודעים שיש להם פטרון בשמיים. They have someone who guard them from the שמיים. אין אני עושה כן. אלא בתחילה אני מזדווג לפטרון שלהם ואחר כך להם. First, I'm gonna get rid of their guard, and then I'll have a free or open way to kill them. הדאו דכתיב, יתייצבו מלכי ארץ, in Tehillim, the second chapter, יתייצבו מלכי ארץ על השם ועל משיחו. על השם. So they will go against השם. אמר לו הקדוש ברוך הוא, רשע, לי אתה בא להזדבק, with me you're gonna deal? You're gonna start up with me? חייך שאני עושה עמך מלחמה. If you come after me, so I will come to do the war against you. And this is the war of Gog Magog. הדאו דכתיב, השם כגיבור יצא כאיש מלחמות יאיר קנאה. וכתיב, ויצא השם ונלחם בגויים ההם. ולסידס בן זכריה, ומה כתיב תמן, והיה השם למלך על כל הארץ. Okay. You took a big challenge. Hashem says to God, you're gonna want to go to a war against me? That will make me go to war against you, and I'm going to destroy you. Okay, this is a medrash. How we could understand this?
Atheism?
Yeah.
Really?
And this is a very interesting thing, and will support the speculation that we spoke about Russia. How could you get rid of God? Tell you how. Communism. There is no such a thing. Just convince everyone there is no such a thing. All what we have in the world is physical. We have scientists who could prove what exists and what's not exist. And all these stories about spiritual forces are nonsense. Let's just go with this theory, convince everyone that there is no such a thing.
But don't you feel like presently in this world, there's a trend against that? Like you see Muslims praying 7 times a day. They have no fear.
5 times.
Whatever it is, they have no fear. They just have a fear of Allah. Like it's.
Okay, I mentioned last time, if you remember, that Magog is not the Muslims.
I know it's not the Muslims, but you see a trend in.
Don't get excited from things that you see today, because you have to see the bigger picture.
Yeah, but if communism fell apart, then
it's not buried yet. It's not buried yet. If you go,
in Russia, to be communist. Yeah. No, but in Russia, it's fine.
if you look, let me tell you something. Here in America, you could see it less.
Maybe the people want it, but it's not a communist country anymore.
I heard that in Mitzrayim already there was communism under Yosef.
I'm not talking about communism per se. I'm talking about denying spirituality. You have to know that in Israel, in America it's less, because many Americans, non-Jews, are religions. I mean, they believe, right? Catholics, whatever they are, evangelists, whatever they are. But they believe in spirituality, right? In Israel, there is such, when you grow up there, they give you the impression that if you are with it, logic, rational, scientist, you have to be against any religion. Any religion. It doesn't go together. It's not logic, it's not rational. And they took it where from? From Russia. They came, the establishment of the Jewish state, of the Israel state, the establishers most of them came from Russia before World War I, after World War I.
Kibbutz life.
Right.
Yes. So all of this idea influenced the education system in Israel, the judicial system in Israel, which is secular. It's not just secular. It's give you the impression that if you believe on this nonsense called spirituality from any kind, you are not logic. You are not with it. You are not, you're primitive. You're primitive. They took it from there. Now, it's very easy to think so because it's less obligating. You know, if there is no spirituality, there is only physical, just do whatever you want. Because there is a whole philosophy behind this. Anyway, let's put it back over here. It says that Gog gonna do war against God. How could you do war against God? It's also speculation, but it seems very, very makes sense that, you know, they will convince everyone that there is no God.
Okay.
And if they will be succeeded, they will get rid of the Jewish nation like this easily. Because if you will convince the Jews that there is no God, they will not keep Judaism. They will mix up, and there will be no Jews in the world. Okay, that's what the Medrash says. So if you add this from the Medrash to the things that we learned from the Psukim, that Magog is a superpower, it's in the north, and has influence all over the world, it fits pretty good in the picture. And it's still, I'm saying in the, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, this is a speculation. But it seems makes sense. Okay, so now what Hashem says, okay, you want to war against me? I'm going to make a war against you. Let's go back to the Psukim and let's see what's going to happen. Another very interesting thing, after he says over here, Leman data goim oti v'yikadshi b'cha le'enem Gog, meaning you will be the tool, you, the denier of God, you will be the tool to prove that Hashem hu Elokim, that Hashem is the master of the universe, right? But he says another very interesting thing. Look at the next pasuk. כה אמר השם אלוקים, האתה הוא אשר דיברתי בימים קדמונים ביד עבדי נביאי ישראל, הניבאים בימים ההם שנים להביא אותך עליהם. What's written over here? It says that at the time when this event is going to happen, when it's going to start, people will look at Gog, at Magog, and will say, is it you? And it will be a surprise for them that it's him. Meaning it will be not known until the things start to take place. Then they will say, wow, this is you? The Nevi'im, the prophet, spoke about you many, many years ago. Meaning, what actually we could draw from this? That at the time people will not know who is Magog. Only after things will start to take place, apply in the reality, then they will put all the details together and say, wow, it's really fit. So it shows the situation that we are now. We ask, who is Magog? We do not know who is it now, right? It's a big question mark. But when you put together all the details and when you will be at the time, when it's going to take place, then you will see it. So the Navi, even this piece of information bring to us. Very interesting. Let's go on. So what's going to be? What's going to be? And here we're going to learn what will be the results of the Gog Magog war. And before we see it, I just want to end, and maybe not for this crowd, but many people will hear this thing. You have to know, Christianity based the entire religion on our Tanakh, on our Bible. They do not deny it. Without our Tanakh, there is no base for their ideas. So they took our Tanakh, our Bible, our Nevi'im, and based on it, made stories or made theories about Jesus and what's going to happen. And there is something called apocalypse. Especially in John, if you know, in the New Testament, they speak about the end of the world. So they are aware of the thing that there is such a thing called Milchemet Gog Magog, but they made out of it something completely different. And they said that's the second coming, all this.
It's not so far-fetched. It's basically the same thing, like it says here, that all the Jews need to be in Israel.
Yeah. But according to the Christianity believe, you know why they support us today? We have an election. Everyone.
They're the ones that pay for all the
everyone aware of what's going on in this very hot election now, And we have the evangelists that they are so loved in Israel, right? They support Israel. They are more right-wing than even the right-wingers in Israel. They said, you know, the land belongs to you, of course not the Arab, and we're going to support you with love, with money. Don't make a mistake. They have their agenda. And according to their agenda, they want, according to the theories, you know, in the New Testament, the Jews should come back at the end of days to the land of Israel in order to believe in Jesus at the end of days. And of course, for us, it's not true. Even kfira, it's denying in God and Hashem. We want to come to, we want and we go back to Eretz Yisrael because the Nevi'im in the Tanakh promised this in the name of Hashem, that there will be end of exile and people will come to Israel, not for Jesus, but for Beit HaMikdash, for Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad, not for the Trinity and all this Christian theories. Now, they speaks about the end of the world. Okay? Let me show you over here. One of the mistakes, Milchemet Gog Magog is not the end of the world. It's not. How it's going to finish? So we know what we know so far. All the nation of the world will come to Israel to attack Israel. For what? For economic reasons. And the Jewish nation will not be ready for this war. So it seems that according to the laws of nature of this war, going to finish clearly with a very clear win of the nations over Israel. And here's the surprise. Let's go to the next verses to see what's going to happen when they're going to come. They're going to come. They're going to invade Israel. They will stay over there on the land of Israel. Right? What's going to happen? Hashem going to interfere and finish the war with their defeat. How? By this.
No?
Wait. Let's see. והיה ביום ההוא ביום בו גוג על אדמת ישראל נאום השם אלוקים תעלה חמתי באפי. I will be very angry, says Hashem. ובקנאתי באש עברתי דיברתי אם לא ביום ההוא יהיה רעש גדול על אדמת ישראל. Now before I say it and explain it, I warn you, don't get scared. What's going to happen? Hashem says it's going to be a huge earthquake. This is the meaning of the word Ra'ash Gadol al Admat Israel. The land of Israel will shake in a big earthquake. Huge earthquake.
This is before the war.
Before what?
No, this is at the end of the war.
No, this is after all the nation of the world will send soldiers and they will be on the land of Israel, covering the entire land, as they say, "Ke'anan mechasot haaretz." Then Hashem will make a big earthquake.
Is it true it's going to be 12 minutes long?
I don't know. According to my information, there is no source to any timing. There is no source. It's all imagination. I want to be, very, very close or to what the Psukim says. Okay. Now,
Earthquake where?
in Israel, Al Admat Israel, Al Admat Israel, on the land of Israel. But I want to say two things. First of all, don't get scared. Don't get scared, and don't draw calculation from this. This is number one. As I said before, the war of Milchemet Gog Magog, the war of Gog Magog is good for us. How?
Even if we live here?
No, we're going to be in Israel at that time, and as soon as the war starts, we're going to Turkey.
Wait.
Really? So why do people live here knowing this information?
The other thing is, when it says over here, Ra'ash Gadol, what's Ra'ash Gadol? Ra'ash is earthquake. What's Gadol? Great, big. How big? So did you heard about Richter? Richter. There is a Richter scale, right? So we had levels of earthquakes. Yeah. Now you have to know that 8.59 is very, very destructive. It's huge. 10 is complete destruction, right? So I didn't know personally Mr. Richter, but one thing I could tell you, Richter probably was a very scholar, very smart in his research that he made. One thing he probably didn't see. He didn't learn chapter 39, chapter 38 in Yechezkel.
And he didn't know how to measure
Because
that one.
if he will be aware of what's written over here, he will add to his scale another 10 or 12 magnitude. Because look at this. Look, there is a description in the next verse. What is the meaning of Ra'ash Gadol? Look. What's Ra'ash Gadol? Big earthquake. How big? Here. ורעשו מפניי. ורעשו מפניי. דגי הים. ועוף השמיים. וחיית השדה. וכל הרמס הרומס על האדמה. וכל האדם אשר על פני האדמה. ונהרסו ההרים. ונפלו המדרגות. וכל חומה לארץ תיפול. You know what's written over here? That this earthquake will be in such a magnitude that it will affect all the fish in the sea and the oceans, all the birds in the sky, all the animals, and all the creatures that goes on the entire land, meaning the entire world. וכל האדם אשר על פני האדמה. Every person in the entire world will feel it.
So we're all going to die.
No, but it didn't just say it's going to feel it. It says it's going to be broken apart.
Right.
And it will topple over it.
ונהרסו ההרים. It will be change on the mountains of the world. Okay? ונפלו המדרגות וכל חומה לארץ תיפול. Will be a complete destruction in the entire world. על פני האדמה, in the entire world.
You're saying everything's done.
Oh, now the question,
Yes,
and I
this is
said
the
before,
question. This is my really, if Hashem's coming to show everyone, you know, that he's the one and only, then why would the entire world be destroyed by the earthquake?
exactly. So we have to understand this. And besides, what's the point? If everything will be destroyed,
The earthquake destroyed.
if everything will be destroyed, so what's going to be with the Jewish nation? The
Well,
entire
nothing will die.
idea is that Hashem will say, Hashem come to this world to protect the Jewish nation. But if everything will be in complete destructions, what's the idea?
Does this include Yerushalayim?
Okay. And here's the thing. When you have an earthquake, you should know when you have an earthquake, in the place that the earthquake really happened, it's the most safest place. The earthquakes go, as waves. So the more you far from it, you more
It's like the eye of a
affected. Right. So,
So
here's the thing. It says like this. It's going to be a big earthquake, and the purpose of it, the immediate purpose of it, is to destroy the army, the huge army that's going to come with Gog to the land of Israel.
I like it.
Most
Like Mitzrayim.
most of them will be killed. Most of the soldiers will be killed in this earthquake. So now the question is, what will be with the Jewish nation that live in Israel? Okay, we'll wait with
That
this.
don't live in Israel.
We'll wait with this. But this is, of course, a
Didn't we
big question.
establish last time that all the Jews will be in Israel at the time, right?
No.
But if it's the safest place to be, where the heart of the earthquake is, then and all the
Exactly.
armies
So
there, so what does that mean?
where is the safe place to be? And we should go now to Israel to wait
No, but if you
after.
said that the ground will be covered, you don't even see the ground, then the soldiers there won't feel it if you're saying that spot is the safest.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Okay. Let's finish. Let's see more details.
Kol ha'adam asher al pnei ha'adama.
Right.
That's like everywhere.
Right. So this is what we learned. What we just learned over here is only part one of 3 parts of how Hashem gonna finish with the attack of Gog. That was the first course. There are 2 more. The first one will be earthquake. In this earthquake, most of the army that come from all the nations of the world that will come with Gog will be destroyed, but will be survivors. The survivors are many enough to continue the dangers of the attack. So what will be the second thing? The second thing will be war between them. They will start to shoot each other. וקראתי עליו לכל הרי חרב, נאום השם אלוקים, חרב איש באחיו תהיה. Because it's not an army, it's a coalition of many armies that will come together. So it will be a big mess, and because of this big mess, they will start to shoot each other, to kill each other, and then another part of this army will be destroyed. This is the second course. What will be the dessert? The dessert will be the hardest. ונשפטתי איתו בדבר ובדם, וגשם שוטף ואבני גביש, ואש וגופרית אמטיר עליו ועל אגפיו ועל עמים רבים אשר איתו. Those one will be survived, the earthquake, and the war that will be between them, they will get dever. Dever is a plague, it's a magifa that kill people. It will be a plague that will go from person to person, and they will be killed with this. Uvedam, vegeshem shotef, will be a rain of stones, ve'avnei gavish, stones that will come from heaven, esh vegofrit, amtir alav ve'al agapav ve'al amim rabim asher ito, they will be destroyed in this, and nothing will be left from this big, huge army of the attackers. Now the question is, what will be with us?
What about the Jewish people not living in Israel?
Right.
Where
What
are
about
we?
even the people in Israel?
Yeah, we're talking about the one that is in Israel and the one who was out of Israel. Okay? So he continues, and this is the end of the chapter.
The one Delia.
The last verse. The last verse in this chapter is the summary. So what will be the result? What will be achieved by this? והתגדלתי והתקדשתי ונודעתי לעיני גויים רבים וידעו כי אני השם. Few things that I want to say about this summary, this last pasuk.
Is this the end of the parak?
Yeah, this is the end of this parak. There are more parakim, but this parak.
Okay, of this one.
Okay. So, והתגדלתי והתקדשתי, everyone could hear the first two words of the Kaddish?
Yes.
He's
yes.
gadal v'yitkadosh. This is the source of it.
That's crazy.
The source of the Kaddish, the one who put the Anshe Knesset Gdolah who put the Kaddish together took it from here, from the summary of Milchamet Gog Magog. Yitgadal v'yitkadosh. What's Yitgadal? Yitgadal become big and holy, special. Shmei Rabbah, the name of Hashem. והתגדלתי והתקדשתי ונודעתי לעיני גויים רבים. So what that says? It says the following. Will be people, non-Jews, will stay alive after the war. Because it's not the destruction of the war. Of the world. You have to remember, all the nation of the world will be involved, but they're going to send soldiers. The nation themselves will stay in their place. They just send soldiers. The soldiers going to pay this price. What about their families that are going to stay in their place?
Russia.
They, not just in Russia, all over the world, because we say it's from all over the world, right? It says something very interesting, that they will learn the lesson. The goyim, the non-Jews, that will stay after the world will learn the lesson. What is the lesson? That Hashem Elokei Israel, He is the master of the universe. Okay? Something very cute. Look. ונודעתי לעיני גויים רבים. What's לעיני? Their eyes. How they could see if it's going to be in Israel. If they live in Australia.
You have the television.
Hello, we have the
They have
smartphone.
TV. They have smartphones. They have way to see it. And it says in the Nevuah that they're going to see it. לעיני גויים רבים. You know, when
Right, when we're going back.
yeah, when people,
You're
when,
telling me
Basically, the TV can still work, the wires and stuff connected.
We're still gonna be able to watch football. My kids
there are many things that
When it's a hurricane, the TV doesn't work here.
yes, I'll tell you what should be the right answer for a rabbi. Let's say 500 years ago, if someone will ask him what's le'enei, he will say, you know what? It's written. I don't know now what that means, but at the time it will be clear.
Right, and
Okay?
that's clear
And
now.
exactly. And that what you should say about everything that you do not understand. If Hashem said, you do not understand now, but when it's going to happen, you're going to be understanding it.
The Israeli army is part of this? What's going on?
No, no. The thing is that Milchamet Gog Magog will not involve the Israeli army. Let me explain why. Remember, it mentioned before that no one would be ready for such an attack. And we said, but we in Israel always have army and we're ready for the next war, right? So what's the explanation of this? The explanation is the following. The explanation is the following. There is something, I don't know how to say it in English, but when the army prepare itself to theoretical scenarios of threat, right? So there is something that called in the Israeli army Tochnit Megira, a plan that is in a drawer. It's not something practical, but we have to be ready for any situation. That's called Tochnit Megira. It's a plan for even unexpected.
Worst case scenario.
Like plan B, backup plan?
No, not backup, but be ready for a scenario that you will never think about it possible, right? So you have to know that in the Israeli army there are many Tochniot Megira, plan for unexpected things. Not just what they expected, but what not expected. But there is a program or a plan to this kind of war. No one thinking about a possibility. We hope we're ready for another war as the war that we had in the last 70 years. With 1 or 2 or 3 or all the Arab nations, including Iran. We might be even ready to have plans of nuclear attack from Iran if they will have a bomb, right? No one make any plans because it doesn't seem possible that if Russia, Germany, the entire European countries, and America, and South America, and Africa, and Australia, all of them together will count on a war, there is no way to answer it. The only way is to just white flag. That's it. You cannot do anything. What you can do?
But the war is going to take place in Israel, but Israel won't be part of it.
So, first of all, it's clear, it says that the war will take part on Israel. It says clearly, right? It says that the Jewish nation will not be ready. And now I'm trying to explain, they will not be ready. And even today, we are not ready for such a thing. And even if we think about it, what could we do? Nothing. What could you do?
We're going to just be watching kind of never.
What could we do?
No, I think in America...
Another thing that you could say, take from here, the war will be finished. The war will be done by end. The war will end with the complete defeat of the attackers. But the one who gonna make the war against them are not the Jewish nation, are not the Jewish army, but Hashem. This is the entire idea. That Hashem himself will do it through making earthquake. Who could do earthquake? The one who is the master of the universe. Who could do a war between them? Who could make the stones coming from heaven and kill them? And what will be with the Jewish nation? Okay, let's just finish with this and give some hope, because people could get scared, right? First of all, we have to know again, and that's also the proof that Hashem Hu Elokim. Once I gave this lecture in Israel, and I never know who was in the crowd. One of the people in the crowd was a nurse. A nurse. And she said, you know what I scared the most from all of this? From this. Devil. Earthquake, people could survive earthquakes. They could survive. But what's devil? Devil is a plague. It's a virus. It goes from person to person. That what made me so scared, because if there will be such a thing that kill people, we could die in the devil. I told her, listen, this is a good point that you made. But there is a precedence to this. Remember Egypt? What's written over there? It was a plague. Not for people, for the animals, right? Makat Dever. It was such a makkah called Makat Dever. And what Hashem says in advance to Paro, Vayamot kol mikne Mitzrayim, all the animals of the Egyptian will die, umimikne Israel lo yamut echad, even one. And that shows the hashgacha. If it's a virus, how the virus know which donkey is the Egyptian donkey and which donkey is the Jewish? And it happened, and it says, the Torah says that Pharaoh sent out to check it out, and he find out that ממקנה ישראל לא מת אחד. Even one. Even one. Same thing בקריאה ים סוף. בני ישראל עוברים בים ביבשה, and all the Egyptians drowned, לא נשאר בהם עד אחד. Meaning, if it's random and just happened, of course, everyone will be affected by this. But if it's not random, but planned by Hashem, here Hashem will show the Hashgacha. The one who should be killed will be killed. The one who should be survived will survive. This will be the proof. This is exactly will be the proof. So if we'll be in such a magnitude of earthquake all over the world, how the Jewish nation gonna survive? They're gonna survive. Because it's not random. Hashem made it. And Hashem will save you what he deserved to be saved, and it will punish the one who deserved to be punished. This will be the idea. So, the Jewish army will not be involved in Melchamet Gog Magog. There is no point, there is no way, there's just no point. No point to try to push such an attack from all the nations of the world. Who will do it? Hashem, and Hashem only. And this is the thing of Melchamet Gog Magog. The other thing is the economy. You know, one of the things.
The economy makes sense because already now you see like a lot of very, very strong apps. Like Waze has come out, this mobile life to do driverless cars.
So I gave this lecture. I started to give this lecture about 25 years ago. And 25 years ago,
They couldn't imagine.
You didn't have any of this.
and 25 years ago, the situation in Israel was economically, it was a recession, it was an inflation, 400% a year inflation in Israel. In my time, I remember it. So I'm standing in front of people talking about those verses in Yechezkel and said, we're going to be a superpower. People told me, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? We're one of the poorest countries in the world. But, you know, from here you could learn. Just wait. And things could change, and they change very quickly. Very quickly. You could, anything that seems to you...
It said 12 of the most 100 were...
Yeah, anything. But learn from it. Learn from it a lesson. Anything that could be the most doesn't make sense today could be very make sense tomorrow or a year from now or 2 years. No one could predict anything. So what we have to know is one thing. All the prophets, all the scenarios that Hashem gave to the Nevi'im fulfilled to the last details. And few years before it seems doesn't make any sense. Let me, with this, give you one very strong
Is there
example.
a timeline?
Yeah.
We're almost done.
So we have 200. So it could be tomorrow. It could be a year, 2 years, 10 years from now.
Could be in 100 years.
Could be. Everything is possible. But it seems, you know, if you look around and you see what's going on around the world, for sure we are in a very, very sensitive time. And no one could predict tomorrow. No one. Of course not a month from now, a year from now. No one. Things could happen very quickly. And we know that what Hashem says by the Nevi'im, gonna happen. Gonna happen. Let me just finish this part, because there is a lot. Okay. Just one thing.
This is a scenario.
Just one thing. This is the end of this chapter, chapter Lamed Chet. You have to know that there is another chapter, Perek Lamed Tet, in the next chapter also, that add few more interesting examples. And by the way, it will relate to what's going to happen around the world, not in Israel, and what's going to happen to the Jews around the world.
That's what I
But
want to know.
okay, that will be.
This is
next
like
week.
right now. I need to make a plan.
That that will not be today because our time is over. I just want to finish with one thing to show you how strong are the Torah and how strong are the prediction of the Nevi'im applied to the history. Remember, we tend to think that the situation that we know now, this is it, and if something fitted, fine. If it doesn't make sense, okay, it's probably not true. I want to show you how wrong is it. One of the Nevi'im, I mean many of the Nevi'im, predict that will be a kibbutz golios at the end of the days.
Right.
People will come from Jews from all over the world back to the land of Israel. Now, it's crazy because people believe in this. They daven this 3 times every day. Tka b'shofar gadol lecherutenu, mekabetz nitcha Israel. For years, 2,000 years, right? Now, let's go back 5 generations. The grandparents of our grandparents, right? They lived all over the world, different places, all over the world, Jews all over the world. And they said, we'll be Kibbutz Goliath. 500 years ago, to talk about Kibbutz Goliath, it's crazy, insane. What do you mean? It's a deserted place over there, the land of Israel. It destroyed for more than a millennia. 1,500 years was the last Beis HaMikdash. I'm talking about 500 years ago. What are you talking about? It doesn't make any sense. It's not seems realistic. And still you believe in this? Same thing when we said today. We're saying it every day, a few times. In Birkat Hamazon, in Bonei Yerushalayim, that Hashem will rebuild Beis HaMikdash. Think about it. Rebuild Beis HaMikdash? You know that Beis HaMikdash could be built only in one place. One place only. And it's not New York, and it's not Los Angeles, it's not Tel Aviv. It's Yerushalayim, and in Yerushalayim, in one place, Har HaBayit. To believe or to think that such a thing could happen, you have to be completely out of your mind. Because it's not empty there. There is a mosque over there. In order to build Beis HaMikdash, you have to take off the mosque. Take off the mosque is meaning to open a war with the entire world. Who could let this happen? And yet, Jews believe in this. You say it in your mouth every day. Right? It seems so often, so crazy idea. Just learn from the following. It seems impossible. It doesn't make any sense.
Now there are no Jews in Europe. The population.
Now look. Let's go back in the history. Not 500 years ago. Not 500 years ago. Let's go back in the history, not 500 years ago, but 70 years ago. Okay? Let's imagine we are now, you good in history? Let's imagine that we are now in the year 1942. 1942. Europe. Jews from all over Europe sent by trains to Auschwitz. It's before, yes, there is. But, yeah, there is. Sending from all over Europe to Auschwitz, and I'm talking about 1942. It's before the first defeat of the Nazis. It's still working full force. Jews are killed every day by thousands. Now, imagine that at this time, 1942, when in Europe all of this happening, 2 Jews will be here in New York, standing near the Empire State Building. And some of them, they will talk about the situation in the world, the war in Europe. Imagine one will tell his friend, how much you're ready to put? I want to make a bet with you. How much you ready to put if I'm telling you that 6 years from now will be a state of Israel? The Jews will build a state of their own. And they will build an army that within 15 years, after this, 20 years, 18 to be exact, 18 years after the establishment of the state, this army will make an operation that all the armies in the world will learn. I'm talking about Entebbe operation, right? Anyone who could put $1 in 1942 will consider completely insane, out of your mind. It doesn't make any sense. And it happened. It happened 6 years after that was the establishment of the Jewish state. In 76 was the operation of Entebbe, and this is few years before was the most crazy, insane idea. Learn from this. The more the Nevi'im will predict, the more the ideas that they present is crazy, it's more likely that it's going to happen. Our history is completely different. There are no rules. All the rules that apply to all the nations of the world are not applied to us. And therefore, when you read these things, you should be, okay, it's going to happen. Just wait. So, I have to finish over here. This is part 2. Will be more if you want, because there is another chapter in the Tanakh that speaks about Milchemet Gog Magog from the Jewish point of view. Remember, All what we learned over here is not talking to us. Yechezkel was Hashem gave the nevuah to Yechezkel to talk to Gog. And the entire parak is not talking about the Jewish people from the point of view of the Jewish people, but from the point of view of the attackers. So, what's going to happen to us? What will be the right action for us to do? That will be Bezrat Hashem in the next part. If you want, next week, on Thursday, if you want, we'll see.
What, this
We'll
week
see.
Thursday?
Not this week, next week.
Okay.
I
Okay.
want to know what's going to be for the Jews in America.
Yeah, not just in America, all over the world. Don't be selfish. Of course, we're here, all over the world. We have to see it. We have to see it. We have to see
Lord
it.
wants to know what's happening.
My
Okay.